camp.
Yeah. Losada is 6.
Yeah. That's what I had. Yeah, they've issued it wrong. They put the team out wrong.
Are we able to hear programming at all, Matt? No? Okay.
Fox isn't dressing, is she?
No.
Subs. Tiana Davidson, Mewis.
Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Almost all Barcelona or Atletico, -1 PSG.
Yeah.
All Barcelona or Atletico and 1 PSG.
Yeah, the top two by Mark Long. I think they're both unbeaten. You know, Atletico have won 15 out of 16 and Barcelona are unbeaten.
Yeah. I saw that too. I have that.
Do we have a team sheet here? Yes.
What do you mean? Oh, do we have it? No, just a photo of it.
So the subs are Mewis. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Another Monday. Here we go. Yes, Mom, I took a shower. Easily my favorite part of game day. Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal.
Welcome back to Alicante on the Costa Brava on the east coast of Spain. This was a World Cup venue back in 1982. Diego Maradona scored 2 goals in this stadium against Hungary. Long time ago now, but there's a bit of history and tradition. At this time of year, it's usually around 60 degrees in Spain, but about 15 degrees below that tonight. It's been unseasonably windy as we look at Megan Rapinoe there as captain tonight, and that's Torrejon, the captain of Spain, lining up. And Spain, just to remind you, 16 unbeaten as we look at the Estadio José Rico Pérez, which holds 30,000. The crowd expected to be around 10,000 tonight, which is more than Spain usually get at home. But they're becoming a dangerous team, aren't they? A team to watch.
And even more scary for the United States, they're becoming a country that's starting to support their women's program more. We've seen it, of course, as we talked about in the Open at the youth level. And now the big question for Spain is, can they translate that immense success they've had at the youth level, won the Under-17 Women's World Cup, runners-up this last summer in the Under-20 Women's World Cup. Can they translate that to the senior stage? They've only been in one World Cup, but I tell you what, this is a team that's fun to watch. It's creative, they're technical, they're confident, they have all the elements.
Habitual pre-match huddle. A few egos bruised among the US players with that defeat a few nights ago in France at Le Havre. A day earlier, Spain drew 1-1 with Belgium. They dominated the game but conceded in the last minute. A very rare case of a very tight Spanish defence conceding in recent times. That defeat for the USA, by the way, ended a 28-game unbeaten run. And straight away some work here for Sonnet to do, the right back. She seems to be just about in pole position to fill that place at the World Cup, but Kelly O'Hara might have other ideas. She's injured for this game, although she did travel with the party.
Kelly O'Hara coming back from that ankle surgery. I would say that's probably the one position. This is very close to a World Cup roster.
Napoleon inside to Losada, the experienced midfield player, a key player. They do concentrate, like Spain's men's teams over the years, on possession, passing football. And if you want a little form guide for Spain, they held Germany 0-0. That's the coach, Jorge Vilda, who's in charge of the whole women's operation. And is doing a fantastic job.
Asked him last night at the press conference, what does he attribute to the success at the youth level? As you point out, Ian, he has overseen all of that and also was the under-19 coach before taking on the senior women's team. And he said, one, you have it here in Spain. It's in the fabric of what we do, football. And two, we all play under the same system. They all come up with the same template.
By the way, the way the World Cup draw is worked out, it could be that this matchup you're watching, USA against Spain, could turn up as a round of 16 game. If the USA win their group, you'd expect that, and Spain finish second in theirs behind Germany, and you'd expect that as well. So that adds even more spice to what we're watching. That was Putellas laying it down the line. Good instinctive one-touch football around the edge of the box from Spain. They're full of attractive ideas.
And here's the thing about Spain. The U.S. will be frustrated they couldn't get pressure on the ball against France, and they're going to want to step that up. But against a team like Spain that's so technical, obviously you can get exposed if you come in too high pressure too fast.
Laid forward by Andrea Pereira. Rose Lavelle, one of those brought into the USA team today. 4 changes from the game against France, including Megan Rapinoe and Tobin Heath added to the attack. Lavelle's picked this up now in midfield, and a good driving run from her. She's got Rapinoe here in support, but they couldn't finish the move.
Although not the finish they want, of course, but a positive sign for the United States. You didn't see them winning many balls in midfield on Saturday night and then driving out of that midfield space.
This part of a 10-match build-up to the Women's World Cup defence for the USA, and they'll be playing a lot of the teams who might be in contention with them, you would think. This is the last game they play in Europe before the World Cup itself, which comes along in June. The first game will be against Thailand, then it's Chile, and then Sweden in the final match of the group. Lavelle lays it wide. Here's Tobin Heath, back fit again. Usually a box of tricks and with a lot of good ideas, so experienced. Lavelle here with an opportunity, deflects behind for a corner.
Good positioning by Rose Lavelle. That's the space exactly they want to find her in. First she gets it into the seam. That starts this whole sequence, and then you see her on the top of the box. You give her a little window of space, she can be dangerous.
It's blocked by Paredes, playing in central defence. Tobin Heath's having a bit of an argument with the photographers over there who are in the way of her taking the corner kick. Can you just move half a yard, she's saying. Not properly cleared, it nearly fell to Rapinoe. Spanish defence just looking a little nervous under pressure early on. Lindsay Horan just making a point to the officials. The referee, by the way, is Stéphanie Flapart from France, who's actually refereed in the men's second division.
And there's what Lindsay Horan is arguing about. I think she got ripped down there.
I think there was a little element of keeping powder dry in the US selection against France the other night, knowing that that could be a big matchup in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. US starting with some nice football here. Is the first involvement for Morgan. Tiptoeing her way through, or trying to. Spain, by the way, ranked at the moment number 12 in the world. So we're starting to see surprises in women's football. Heath can't quite bring that one under control.
What a good idea by Julie Ertz. Trying to get Heath in on that sideline. And you also saw on the other side Rose Lavelle making that run at that back four for Spain. Such a hard run to track coming out of midfield.
So Jill Ellis looking to win the World Cup as a coach for the second time this year. Some slick football around the edge of the box. Lavelle playing it back to Sonnet. Lavelle, a very exciting young midfield player who'd be going to her first World Cup, trying to find Crystal Dunn on that far side. That didn't quite work out. This is Torrejon winning her 82nd cap. The Barcelona player. You worked out that just about everybody in this team, bar one, plays for either Barcelona or Atletico Madrid, the two teams dominating the Pro League. There's a flag up here against Alex Morgan.
And the bar one being number 4 Paredes, who plays with PSG. Not a bad option.
More
just
and more.
Hair.
You're going to say, I was going to say, Julie, you're going to see teams that you hadn't expected to be forces before becoming major players. Horan, lovely ball inside there towards Morgan, who does retain possession. It's Morgan, who's 2 goals away from reaching the 100 club as a US player.
And to your point, Ian, about unexpected teams coming forward. I mean, the crazy thing is their first World Cup for Spain was in 2015. Think about that. This is the team that's been around since 1980. They had the same coach, Coach Correda, for 27 years. They never qualified for a World Cup until 2015.
Didn't do very well at that World Cup either. Went out in the group stage, lost 2 and drew 1. It's Mariona who laid in inside to Vicky Losada. This is the Paris Saint-Germain player Paredes laying it forward. Losada again. This is the passing football for which Spain are becoming renowned. I'm sure that Jill Ellis, the coach, looked at this game and thought, well, this might be a match where we have less of the ball than our opponents. It was Putellas, another experienced player, trying to lay the ball off. Look at this one-touch football. Easy on the eye, isn't it? Mariona. Hermoso. Scored a lot of goals in qualifying. No problem Spain at all in that department. Same for the USA, of course.
And I think this is going to be the question for me at this World Cup for Spain, is they play a lot of nice, attractive, creative football, but do they have enough bite in that final attacking third? Hermoso, as you were just talking about, 7 goals in qualifying, but Paredes is their second leading goal scorer in World Cup qualifying, their center back with 4 goals. where's that offensive creative power coming from for them? I think that's their biggest question mark.
Having said that, they don't let in many at the other end, do they? They're going to be hard to beat, whoever they play. And also in the group, mentioned Germany with them, China and South Africa. You'd think they'd probably manage to get second place in that group, if not top place even. Free kick to Spain. The stadium which staged 2 Argentina games at the 1982 World Cup and the third place match that year, where Poland beat France. Now it's a third division stadium for Hercules, local team here. Look at this high line US are defending with. Mapileon with the free kick. Sonnet didn't really deal with it, but the flag's up for offside anyway. Mariona was hoping to get on the end of things there. There she is wearing the number 9 shirt.
Nair has a look, clearly offside there. Has a look, hesitates a little bit, thought she was going to come and then retreated.
Alyssa Nair, the established number 1 goalkeeper, very much in the shadow of Hope Solo at the last World Cup, but this time, everything being well, she's got a very, very big job to do. Mariona does well. Meseguer, well defended at the right back. Torrejon, the captain, not on target. Fair opportunity, really. She had a little more time, I think.
How about the confidence of Spain, though, when they can knock it? That first touch, and they just clean everything up. This is your outside right back, pressing forward, doing a very good job every time the United States gets the ball back in that defensive third, putting pressure on them, not allowing them out of that space.
Putellas won the header. Here's Torrejon again. She's been part of the team for 12 years, the Barcelona fullback. Played long by Abidal Kempa, but a bit too long. Carly Lloyd among the substitutes, the star of the last World Cup for the USA, scoring a hat-trick in the final.
And it's going to be interesting to see what her role is in this one. 36 years of age. I think you're going to see her like you saw her in that game on Saturday night against France, a super sub that comes in and gives them a lift.
Lavelle doing good work again. Here's Tobin Heath this time. Really such an interesting player, Tobin Heath. Maverick quality about her, both on and off the pitch. Preferred at the moment to Mallory Pugh, who got the goal against France the other night and is on the bench once more for this one. Heath to take it. Goalkeeper came for it, didn't get it. It's come out here to Rapinoe, and somehow that Spanish defense survived that. The goalkeeper, Paños, really flapped at that. This goalkeeper, the number 2 goalkeeper, has been brought into the team tonight. Meseguer's down injured. She comes from Alicante. I think that's why the coach has given her the job here, but she really made a mess of all that.
Gosh, Spain very lucky that Rapinoe didn't punish him on that one. Even Paños on that second. Look at her swipe at it. Doesn't know where she is. Doesn't quite get a hand on it as well. That was a mess. That's 2 corner kicks for Spain that they've looked less than convincing on.
The number 1 goalkeeper is Lola Gallardo, who's been put on the bench this one. That is Sylvia Meseguer, the central midfield player, who's down. She took a knock in the middle of all of that, and there's some concern about her from some of the other players, but I think it's going to be okay. ESPN's coverage of the US women's national team is brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting partner of US Soccer. Close run thing there. Alex Morgan was hoping to finish off the move. I think the goalkeeper just got something on it at the last moment to save her blushes, really.
Got something on Messaguer as well.
Yeah. Here's Lavelle, who started the game very well, couldn't quite pick the right ball. It was cut out by Paredes. Looks like everybody in this Spanish team knows how to pass the football. I agree with your point, Julie. I think the question will be for them, have they got that devil, that ruthlessness in front of goal, which makes the difference between teams who can show quite well at the World Cup and those who might win it. Flags up here. Frustrated Alex Morgan, who averaged nearly a goal a game last year. Emily Sonnet inside, Julie Ertz, and then Becky Sauerbrunn.
The one we haven't talked about who could be and give him some of that offensive bite is Patri Guiaro, who was the under-20 Women's World Cup star from last summer. Golden boot, golden ball, 6 goals.
Yeah.
Talked about them being runners-up to Japan.
She's got a little injury. It's a pity we don't get to see her, but I think Spain probably quite happy to keep her under wraps a little bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of big reports you were saying about Patri Guiaro. Another Barcelona player.
Central midfielder, likes to get forward, scores from distance, scores from all over.
It's Crystal Dunn trying to link up with Megan Rapinoe on that side. Surely a free kick for the foul there by Putellas.
I think missing Ertz in that game against France, without Julie Ertz in that center midfield, you just lose bite. You lose a little bit of edge offensively, defensively, and I think that has been really such a turning point for this national team. When they figured out that piece of the puzzle with Ertz in that holding midfield position, this team started scoring, they started winning tons of games. I just think she has been phenomenal. Remember, she was a center back for 2015 World Cup, of course.
We were asking her last night whether Zach would be coming to watch her at the World Cup, and she very diplomatically replied, if I'm selected.
I don't know, the team hasn't been named yet.
Yeah.
I said, oh my gosh, you are Joy Fawcett. I had to tell her the story. Joy, literally like a month before the tournament, or 2 months, when she didn't know the roster, I'd say, Joy, when's your family coming over? She'd say, I don't know, I haven't made the team yet. I'd be like, Joy, you're like one of the best defenders in the world. I think you're pretty good.
I quite like that modesty, though.
I know. No, Jules, I haven't made it yet.
Don't assume anything. It's not a bad little byword, that.
And then she smiled and she said, but if I do make it, I'd love it if he was there. I hope so.
That reminds me of the story of England's old World Cup winning manager, Alf Ramsey. One of the players said to him, I'll see you next time, Alf. He said, will you? I think that was Gordon Banks, the great goalkeeper, as well.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just a reminder of who picks the team. Oran won the header for the US. It's Putellas. Good ball that to Vicky Losada. This is Mappy Leon, who can play central defence as well, but left back tonight. They've left out Corredera, who often plays in that position. Paredes too late forward for Spain. Putellas run into a bit of trouble that time, but Pereira can get it away. No way through.
Every time Spain loses it, quick to press. I mean, it's such a good test for the United States in terms of when, because you could spend the whole game chasing this creative team. When you press, how you go, how you stay compact, and then, gosh, when you get the ball offensively, take care of it.
Spain are keeping the ball a little better. Meseguer is okay again. This is Sampredo. We haven't seen too much of her. Torrejon in support. She's another creative talent, though, on the right side of the attack for Spain, wearing the number 19 shirt. Sampredo, here she is in possession now. Hermoso. Putellas. And now the US can break, or can they? Here's Morgan. I don't think he's going to be able to get to that.
And the last few times, every time the U.S. does all that work to win the ball, they quickly then give it back. And that gets frustrating when you're chasing as much as you are. And more than frustrating, it gets exhausting.
The voice of Julie Fowler, who went to 4 World Cups with the U.S. That's some going. Only a couple of players who can beat that, a few who can equal it. Christy Rampone was 5, wasn't it? Christine Lilly, 5 World Cups. Amazing.
It is amazing. It's a lot of years.
Carly Lloyd will be hoping to make it 4 World Cups. If selected, of course, going back to our theme. I think she will be, if not in the starting 11. Becky Saarbrunn trying to find the newlywed, Crystal Dunn, married in New York to Pierre on December the 29th. Congratulations in order. She's played just about every position bar goalkeeper for this team.
I bet we'll see her there this year. She'd probably do amazingly well there also. There's not a position she can't tackle. No, but it's great to see married. She said it was a fantastic wedding. Pierre, French, his whole family in the south of France. They didn't get to the game on Saturday night, but they'll be there for the World Cup, of course, so that's very exciting for her.
Haven't had a honeymoon yet.
Yeah, she said we spent it in Portugal with a bunch of women. Or I did. He didn't.
Warm weather training camp that the US have been embarking on here on this side of the Atlantic. It's cool enough here for Jill Ellis there to be wearing that little woolly hat. Very advisable, I can tell you.
So much for the warm weather training.
Vicky Losada wrestled to the ground, which is why Spain had a free kick.
Vicky Losada, American fans might remember, played for the Western New York Flash, played actually with Carly Lloyd and McCall Zerboni. How about that? In midfield for them. 2014.
Speaks pretty good English as a result of that. And come on with 2 or 3 of this Spanish squad. Here's Meseguer. Putellas turned very neatly on the ball. Losada to feed it wide to Jenny Hermoso. Hermoso has 25 goals for her country and her 61 caps to date. It's a pretty good return, that. I think Spain are going to try to subject their opponents to death by 1,000 passes at the World Cup.
The other good reason this is such a good test for the United States is it gets so frustrating, of course, when a team is able to technically control the way they can, and how you deal with that, how you react, how you adjust defensively. You can see them talking on the field trying to sort it, because the U.S., every time they get the ball, they just can't get any rhythm or possession going.
Becky Saarbrunn much the leader. The back should be going to a third World Cup. Pretty much on the fringes in 2011, but just about every minute 4 years ago in the World Cup win. Back by San Prado, but Lindsey Huron broke it up and Megan Rapinoe's in here. This is a promising situation if they can get it right, the US. Rapinoe might have to go alone. She tries the cross shot, will be a corner kick. Pereira got her foot in.
The perfect opportunity too for Rapinoe to break, and that touch just takes her wide, cuts her angle. Doesn't have much when she takes it so wide.
Just a hunch that the US might have a little bit more cutting edge up front, even though Spain could probably outpass most teams in the world. Rapinoe, there's in swing on that one. Wanted watching. In the end, it goes only into the side netting.
I'll tell you what, too, if you're another country scouting this, really the thing you'd be looking at is set pieces here on corner kicks. Can you get some for them? Because right now what we've seen from Spain hasn't been convincing defensively. First two were the best chances for the United States, and really the only two they've had all game came off corner kicks.
Sonnet is Morgan. Tobin Heath, who scored in the final of the World Cup 4 years ago. Big win over Japan. Good work, Crystal Dunn. That's Megan Rapinoe. Ertz couldn't control it. It luckily finds its way through to Sonnet, who certainly wasn't the intended target. Miss Lavelle, who might just be the X-factor player in the midfield, might be one of the stars of the World Cup. She's certainly got some flair, hasn't she, and vision.
Yeah, she's got the confidence and creativity you need on the ball, and that was such a missing element in the Olympics of 2016.
The free kick is given. Of course, the team that put the US out at the Olympic Games in 2016 are in the US's group, Sweden. Final game of the group.
Crystal Dunn shaking her head at that one, and I think I agree with her on that. There's her ability at that left back position to deal with pressure. But with Spain having so much of the ball, you haven't seen much of the outside back presence for the United States. Dunn unable to get forward on the left. Sonnet unable really to get anything going offensively on the right as well.
And for Morgan to chase, Paredes to cut it out. His Heath. One of those who've just been carrying a little bit of a knock lately is Tobin Heath, Julie Ertz as well, and Rose Lavelle was sick, quite badly sick, we understand, and they've all recovered for this game anyway. And also did some good work there. Putellas to spread it wide. Here's San Prado. Torrejon, just a bit too far for her. And again, very quick feet from Crystal Dunn, who's converted pretty well into that left-back role. A former striker, of course. I think she scored 5 goals in a match once. Top marks for versatility.
She's a great striker. Sometimes the best striker in the NWSL in the last few years. So we've seen her really in so many different positions. But there was a classic example of Spain finally isolating a player on the wing with some space. And they choose to combine rather than go at that player.
It was Lindsey Huron doing some good work, the award-winning MVP in the NWSL for Portland Thorns. a little bit frustrating for the US so far. They can't quite get the kind of attacking cohesion I think that Jill Ellis would want to see.
And full credit to Spain, because as we've said, they haven't been sitting back defensively. Every time they lose it, they've got 2-3 players around that ball, making it tough for the U.S.
Losada under some pressure, good high press on the ball, but she did emerge with it and then overhit her pass. Quickly taken by Sonnet. Morgan was just hustled out of it. Reminder, the US men's national team's back in action this Sunday on ESPN2 as they take on Panama in Greg Berhalter's first match at the helm. That'll be interesting. Coverage from Glendale, Arizona, beginning at 8 Eastern on ESPN2, and also streaming live on the ESPN app. The start of a new era for the US men's national team.
Excited for that era. Good feelings about it, Ian. Channeling good feelings.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope that it's the start of better times ahead after a difficult period. Tobin Heath's long ball. Is that going to drop to Megan Rapinoe? No, I think it was Torrejon who got her head to it. And for all this passing and possession of Spain, so far they haven't created a single chance in the game, have they? US haven't created too much more.
No, and I think that's going to be the next step for Spain. It's one thing to play a wonderfully pretty game. It's another to actually finish it.
Morgan, offside. Flag went up anyway, which might have been just as well in the end. Jorge Vilda, the technical director for all the Spanish women's teams. He doesn't coach all of them, but he kind of oversees the operation.
Oof, I think that one was...
She was onside.
The second one, sorry.
Oh, the second ball, yeah.
And we're 31 minutes in, and that's really the first time we've seen Alex Morgan get in behind. Again, a key for the United States this summer is going to be her being a part of this offensive threat, because when Alex Morgan is on, 18 goals in 19 games in 2018, we know what happens. They win games. In fact, every time Alex Morgan scores, the United States has gone unbeaten. 68 games. So
that is amazing. You reminded her of that last night. She didn't know. Players don't, do they? They don't know that kind of thing. Oh, that's good, she said.
59 wins and 9 draws. How about that? Every time she scored.
So played it to Losada, who cut that back. It was an interesting idea, but there was no one in a red shirt there. They just can't find the final ball, really, to trouble the US defense. Picked up by Rose Lavelle. Beautifully measured, that one, for Tobin Heath. Blocked by Mappy Leon. And then long one-range shot from Julia Ertz, which fizzes over.
You gotta love that smile.
Well, she was Julie Johnson, wasn't she? At the time of the last World Cup, married since. Still call her JJ though, don't they? Coach does anyway.
And for the first time, it looked like you saw a little bit of fatigue from Spain, from that back line in midfield there. That always has been the X factor for the United States, as they outlast teams. They're fitter, they're stronger. And really the demise of so many of these programs that they're not playing full-time or they're not training full-time, of course, is the capacity to go 90 minutes like the U.S. can.
Okay. 3 times winners of the World Cup and 4 times Olympic champions, the US. And in 4 of the 7 World Cup finals in the women's game there have been so far. And And you know what that's like, Julie. Just something to aspire to, of course, as a player. And this is close control. Rosada. You can see there are some very good technicians in this Spain team. One of them is on the ball now, Putellas, muscled out of it, and the US very upset that the free kick is given against them, taken quickly by Meseguer. The referee wasn't too bothered about where they took it. Amanda Sanpredo. He's an interesting character who studies sports journalism. The right-sided attacker. Do a report of the game later.
Bring her up here.
Yeah. Well, we did that with Megan Rapinoe, didn't we?
I know. That's when I had no voice. I had to try to get her for the whole game.
Yes.
She said, "What, are you crazy?" No, I can't talk.
Well, she came up to talk about fundraising to help the fire victims in California, but ended up doing half the commentary.
Why don't you stay for 90 minutes?
Yeah. We could have walked out easily.
I think Seattle was playing that night, WNBA championship. She wanted to watch Sue Bird play. I get it. It's okay.
Tell you what, there's a bit of feistiness about this game as well. Between the players, you can tell there have been one or two little bad-tempered exchanges. Rapinoe dug out a good-looking cross there. A win by Paredes. It's not really clear, though. Here's Crystal Dunn. Played in by Ertz towards Morgan, who was trying to bring that down and then let go with a volley. Not quite.
And you just get a sense there's a little bit of momentum change as well. More confidence from the U.S. team.
I think there's a little bit of them wanting to put Spain in their place a bit here.
Oh, of course, and especially being the first time ever that Spain has played them. I mean, Julie Ertz was talking about it last night. Like, we need to make a mark. We need to make a statement. What happened on Saturday night against France is not part of our DNA. We need Spain to know the first time they play us, this is who we are.
So that's what you're watching here. No goals so far. Not that many chances, but the game has all kinds of subplots because we are only 5 months away from the Women's World Cup itself. And of course, a big story this week with Australia firing their coach, Alan Staic. We'll hear a lot more, I'm sure, coming out about that.
Caught quite a few players by surprise. You know, when Sam Kerr's learning by Twitter that's not a good sign.
Yeah. So it's really disrupted the preparation of one of the teams who will be your favourites. Ball was given away by the USA rather carelessly in midfield, picked up by Amanda Sanpredo. Jenny Hermoso and Torrejon towards Putellas. That's good experience work from Becky Sabra. Some of the crowd here, they need to be wrapped up tonight. Usually it's even in January you can sit around certainly up to 5 o'clock at night in shirt sleeves usually, but not here, not today. There might be something going on here. Putellas with the effort on goal, but at least there's Spain just baring their teeth a little more.
And really the best effort they've had on goal, even given all the possession they've had. For Nair, it has been all outside, though, all outside her box, and that is the biggest question mark for me. When they isolate, when they get on the flanks, right now we have seen San Pedro, number 19 on the right side for Spain. Every time she gets it and she's isolated, she's returning and going backwards. She's returning and going backwards. When are you going to get a player that's willing to get in the box, take on, and change that game?
Yeah, it's sort of as good as far as it goes, isn't it? Here's Heath looking to do exactly what you were talking about at the other end. Prepared to have a dart at the fullback. Haven't seen that yet from Amanda Sanpredo for Spain. Very comfortable on the ball is Meseguer again. Free kick is given.
And this is what Spain needs, to your point, Ian. Tobin Heath, she doesn't get that ball, but my gosh, she's trying to get in that box. Maybe she gets a penalty kick out of it. So those are the chances and the risks you have to take.
Meseguer, Abby Dahlkemper did the job in the end. Lindsay Horan has overhit that. Possession is squandered by the US.
I do get a sense, though, with this first half winding down, that the U.S. have found their feet. I think they were a little shell-shocked in that first 20, 25 minutes with so much possession from Spain and such a good, confident side. And it's in a position they didn't often find themselves, chasing a lot of that ball. But they seem to be getting that momentum back.
Rapinoe. By Torrejon. That's a good contest over on that far side between Megan Rapinoe and Marta Torrejon. One of Rapinoe's Seattle Reign teammates, Celia Jimenez, is in the Spanish squad on the bench tonight. Crystal Dunn might have gone down there. It was close to being inside the penalty area if it wasn't actually in it, but she made nothing of it. ESPN Plus is your home for Italy's Serie A, with matches every week along with preview and highlight shows. Start your free trial now by going to ESPN.com and clicking the ESPN Plus tab at the top of the page. That's for all the action in Italy's Serie A. Must for all you Juventus and Inter and Roma fans and all the other big clubs. Becky Sauerbrunn, who's passed 150 caps. It's 151 now, and Lindsay Horan is offside anyway. Once she's tried to get involved, the flag went up. I think there is a lot of strength in depth around this US team. I think most of the bookmakers would make them just about the favourites to win the World Cup, but there are a lot of other contenders, and we'll be talking about some of them at half-time. Julie will be giving her a rundown of how she sees the field.
Exciting that we finally know what the field is, though, huh? Less than 6 months away.
Horan lays it forward. Crystal Dunn has been one of the best US players here for me tonight so far. Been lively. Rapinoe. Looking for that reverse ball to find Crystal Dunn. This is good from the US. You can dig out the right kind of ball. Morgan was waiting to let go with a header as well. Spain defence do get it away. But that was a little more inventive and creative. And the brakes on here is Amanda Sanpredo. Meseguer to try to lay that wide. It got caught on the breeze, rather. And that attack was gone with the wind, I think, really, for Spain.
Sonnet did well on the right side. Ertz covering for Crystal Dunn on the left side. Because Spain really had a chance to break with that one.
Sauerbrunn is getting windier by the second here, by the way, and that is affecting the game a little bit. You can see pieces of paper blowing across the pitch now. There are one or two players out there who tackle the bits of paper, I think. It didn't quite rhyme for the US. I've been scoring a ton of goals in recent games. 1-0 win over Portugal and Scotland back in November, and the 3-1 loss against France the other night in Le Havre. Given away by Sonnet. Mariona. Julia Ertz again. US can't keep the ball. Putellas, who looks really classy. Good left foot. Here she's on the ball again now. And Musso to lay it inside. Irene Paredes across to Pereira. Napoleon. This is about a dozen passes so far. That make that 13. Good move too, Losada. But once again, it's broken up on the edge of the box, and that might be Spain's problems. Can they find the final piece of the puzzle? It's going to be one added minute.
Tell you what's impressive though, when they do lose that ball, how quickly they organize around the ball, behind the ball, and their transition is sharp.
Vicky Losada did score at the last World Cup. And the only match in which Spain took a point, that was in their opening game against Costa Rica, a 1-1 draw. They lost to Brazil and to South Korea. Here they're drawing 0-0 with the USA. A typically tight game between two teams who we think could be big contenders at the World Cup in 5 months' time. Substitutes to come, and we'll be discussing the World Cup contenders when we return. Story in Alicante, goalless so far.